Hey guys, it's Comics G-Man here again, and we're going to talk about a new subject. Today, I'm going to talk about some Aquaman. Aquaman of the seas, the seven seas. I watched the Aquaman movie with Jason Momoa again about a week and a half ago, and I love the Aquaman movie with Jason Momoa. And I was one of those guys who didn't like it when it first came out, but I liked it when I saw it again and again. And, man, Jason Momoa, I love the guy, I do. And the Aquaman movies, even though they're like off of the Zack Snyder themes of dark and they're a little bit more bright and crazy, there's some really good cinematography and colors, and I mean it's a beautiful movie in its own right. I don't understand why people have always shitted on it, but hey, what the hell? That's just me. But I wanted to read some Aquaman comics from watching those movies again. And finally, for the first time, the only Aquaman comics I've read on my own were some old Silver Age ones that I got in some DC Showcase Essential volumes. Those were in black and whites, if you guys are familiar with them. But we're going to start with one that really kind of molded the Jason Momoa Aquaman, and I went back to the Peter David Aquaman run. So this is where you could see a lot of the influence from, and with good reason. There's some really great stuff even in this, but I didn't start the main series. I first started off with Aquaman, Time, and Tide. And it's only 4 issues, but they're nice meaty 4 issues, and it's a nice start to the series. So, here's what I wrote for issue number 1. Writing in his diary, he explains how his mother, Atlanta, he feels was insane, and the stories she would tell of his lineage were the babblings of a mad woman. He then recollects about the first time he was called a hero, and we go back to when he was discovered in this version by the Flash. The Flash finds Aquaman in this story during one of the Flash's run-ins with the Trickster villain. The Flash goes unconscious and almost gets eaten by sharks, but Aquaman speaks to them and stops them from eating him on time. And he helps the Flash recover in his cave and everything. And the Flash convinces Arthur to come to the surface eventually. At this point, Arthur lives in a dark cave and is more creature than man. The Flash convinces him to give the surface a try. And Arthur is really grouchy and has no patience with humans in this issue. And the writing is very solid here. Here's the trade paperback with it's pretty cool. Alright, so let's go to issue number 2 of Time and Tide. Wow, this was a really well done ish. It starts off with a Japanese ship hunting dolphins with tuna nets. And Aquaman describes this horrible experience the dolphins go through during their capture. A baby dolphin, when it is born, immediately jumps out of the water to breathe fresh air. However, the moment it is caught by a net, it sometimes chooses to stop breathing, and it essentially commits suicide from the shock of the net. The mother dolphin and the baby are thrown into the ship, struggling for their life. And the Japanese crewmen are about to end the dolphins' lives, and Aquaman stops it right on time. And you actually feel bad for the dolphins. It was very well written, and it didn't come off like this climate bullshit or the phony environmentalists who talk about, oh, you can't breathe, you can't eat, you can't do this without affecting everything. Your very existence is horrible, and you should kill yourself while you're at it. You know those environmentalists that I'm talking about. Go fuck yourself. He then goes on while writing up in his diary, Aquaman, why he feels he owes his life to the dolphins. It's not like this. I thought it was going to be a campy, environment, you need to respect this, which is fine, but it was actually a pretty cool Roman story if you think about it. King Travis of Atlantis abandoned Arthur as a baby and left him on Mercy Reef. Atlantean babies, only able to breathe in water, would lay in the water, and eventually the water of the reef, Mercy Reef, would recede, and the air would then proceed to suffocate the baby that they abandoned on that reef. But remember, Arthur isn't fully Atlantean. He's half human, half Atlantean. So, this didn't kill Arthur. He survived as a baby on that reef. And then when the water came back up, the dolphins took him in. A female dolphin found him and had a baby dolphin named Drin. Prom, the mother, was scorned by the lead alpha dolphin, but she convinced the pack to hold onto the defenseless human baby. And she had a weird name too, Prom, which meant something like, they called her the child lover because she saved Arthur. Like Tarzan raised by apes or Romulus by wolves, this was a brilliant and beautifully rendered myth come to life on these pages. We watch Arthur grow up with these dolphins, barely surviving and barely fed until he adapts. Like, he's malnourished, he doesn't eat enough because they help him a little bit, but and he's naked the whole time. There's a lot of nudity in this. If that makes you guys uncomfortable, sorry. If you don't like seeing the human body naked, don't worry, there's no pee-pee. He's just naked. It's like when you see those old ancient, beautiful paintings of naked people. That's what it's treated like. It's respectable. He slowly learns if his super strength from a near death with a shark that tried to kill a female dolphin named Nira. Yeah, one of the female dolphins that he liked almost gets killed by the shark. And as he's worried for her, he realizes, wait a minute, I got a thumb and hands, and then he goes after the shark. He stabs it in the eye. He takes something from the reef, from the ground, and he takes it up and he stabs the shark in the eye, and the shark remembers him later on. And that's when he realizes that he's not a dolphin, but he still can't accept that he's not a dolphin. You'll see. He falls in love with this dolphin named Nira, which is funny because Aquaman always ends up with a woman named Nira. He is told she is not for him, obviously. And the dolphins help him discover other humans. I mean, imagine if they went that far and they're like, hey, let's have him fuck dolphins. That would be fucking crazy. Thank God they didn't go that far. I'm kidding. Relax. One day, Drin, his brother, Dolphin, and Arthur are pestering each other, and Drin accidentally jumps onto the blades of a boat and dies. He's saying, oh, you're not really a dolphin, no, Arthur. Look how far I could jump across the ocean, and what can you do? You can jump, but you're not like me. Arthur refuses to leave his dolphin brother's body to the sharks, but even the mother, Prom, the child lover Prom, she says makes him face the harsh reality by letting his body go, and from there he eventually leaves to find his own way, Arthur. So even the mother, because she's an animal, she's a dolphin, she understands the cycle of life. She says she's devastated by her son's death, but what else can they do now? They have to let him go. And this was I loved every page of this issue, number 2. Issue number 3. Peter David, in this ish, adds a well-written, tragic hero's journey to Arthur's youth. Starting off in Alaska, Arthur saves an Eskimo girl from getting eaten by a polar bear from the very start of the issue. They manage to kill it together, but from the ravaged bear, Arthur falls unconscious after the fight. Keiko, the Eskimo girl, takes him home. Her grandfather is a man who is very wary of white men, and not in the modern day racial bullshit we hear today. All right, it's the classic Indians, white guy kind of thing from the old cowboys and Indian stuff, except these are Eskimos and they have that kind of a mentality. So it's a little more of a classical take. It's not this modern day venomous racism that we hear today against the white people. Her grandfather is a man who is weary of white men because he blames them for corrupting his native land of Alaska and their traditional way of life. They use their jet skis, they got their houses. He still lives in the hut. He doesn't use jet skis. He uses his dogs, wolves, the huskies, and his sled. This guy is like the old-fashioned hunter-gatherer. respect to that. I love that. Like, I agree with that. If you are living that life, man, you got every right to feel that way. Hell yeah. If you could still be a hunter-gatherer in modern times, damn, respect, man. That's a man. He's not just some liberal complaining about another race or something in his white tower. He's living the life as a hunter-gatherer. To his surprise, he comes to his sod hut with a young boy, Arthur, being cared for by Keiko, his granddaughter. Despite his weariness, the old man welcomes Arthur for saving Keiko. This ish also shows that Orm is not too far away. And Orm, if you guys aren't familiar with, or if you haven't even watched the movie, Prince Orm is like his half-brother, and he always ends up to be the villain, Ocean Master. So in this origin story, Orm happens to live in Alaska. I don't know what his origin story was in the Silver Age comics. I only read so far in those, and the ones that I did read from the past, the Silver Age, it didn't really talk about Orm. It was just about Aquaman and Aqualad. Orm is not too far away, but is living more like the modern times rather than the traditional way. He's arguing with his mother, and he talks about how he was a bastard. How did Orm end up all the way here, and what's the story with him and his mother? Hopefully we find out more later on. Arthur and Keiko get real friendly. At one point, Keiko takes her coat off and asks Aquaman to warm her. Well, they get it on. Like, Arthur and Keiko, they get it on. In the distance, Orm was watching them fuck, literally. And later on, when Arthur wakes up, he finds Keiko all bloodied and beaten up. Still alive, but barely, like, beaten up badly by Orm. Arthur doesn't know it was Orm yet, though. He doesn't know what happened. When he brings her back to the hut where the grandfather is, he gets visions of the land's native goddess treating him. He wakes up. Keiko is saved. He tells the family what happened, and the grandfather freaks out that Arthur has angered their native goddess. Yeah, like they don't know what happened to Keiko. They think she got beaten up because of some curse on the land, and Arthur brought about that curse by angering the native goddess, but that's not what happened. Orm beat her up. This all causes the grandfather to freak out, and he dies. He gets a heart attack on the spot from all this. And the mother, she gets angry at Arthur. She blames him for all of this horror. The mother screams and blames Arthur for destroying the family and makes him leave, tragically. This was so tragic, so sad. I felt so bad for Arthur and everything. This has some really good emotional moments that add some real emotional depth to Aquaman's development. This, in my opinion, is how you do a great backstory of a hero's youth, unlike the most recent Mark Waid Superboy run, which is the opposite and has absolutely no emotional weight at all. Issue number 4. Okay, so it looks like Peter David is keeping elements of Jim Aparo's Aquaman, which I've never read yet, but I just know about it because of the horrible thing that Aquaman goes through it. In this ish, it shows Aquaman chronicling his life still and recalling his time as king. His celebration has Aqualad, Mira, Arthur Jr., his Aquaman's son, and even Aquaman's father, King Travis. I wonder how Aquaman was able to forgive a man, his father, Travis, who abandoned him as a baby at Mercy Reef. But that was probably all in the Aparo's run, which I haven't read. Orm attacks and reveals himself as the man who almost killed Keiko many years ago. He was jealous and angry because he loved Keiko and was enraged that Arthur took her away from him and had sex with her. We find out that Orm is the half-brother of Arthur, just like in the movies. Arthur doesn't put 2 and 2 together until years later, as he's chronicling all this in his diary. The time that Arthur is writing down his thoughts, his son is dead, because in the Aparo run, I know his son died. I don't know how he died, but I know it's famous for that his son was killed in that. He is separated from Mira in this, most likely, and Aqualad, I don't know, what's Aqualad up to now in this Peter David run? Did Aparos kill off Aqualad too, or did Aqualad go off on his own, hopefully? We'll find out more, because I liked Aqualad in the Silver Age comics. He was like a good Robin. This is really solid storytelling, and Peter David really did try to make Aquaman be taken serious by more people at the time, which is sad because Aparo seemed to have some really good stuff before, and the Silver Age were actually fun to read for me, but Peter David was right. He had to do something extreme for Aquaman to get more attention and make him considered more serious in the line of superheroes. And this time in Tide was a great start, and I can't wait to read the rest. Thanks for listening, and have a nice day.